Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean casting nets, Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. It's a podcast. Just for the halibut. Fried in a basket or broiled.
Hello and welcome to the Fish Nerds, a show about fish, fishing, and eating fish. Clay Groves, Chief Executive Fish Nerd, hanging out with you today. Today is day 14 of National Podcast Posting Month, and we are doing great. Every day this month, we are posting a brand new podcast with content delivered from you. Yeah, you, the listener. And to participate in National Podcast Posting Month, all you've got to do is call us on the Fish Nerds Hotline, 607-378-FISH, and we'll get your fishing pet peeve, that's this month's theme, on the show. Jeff Danielson, the effing librarian, has done just that. He called us yesterday. I thought I was all out of listener feedback or listener peeves, and Jeff came through with a big one here for you. So let's get right into it with Jeff Danielson, our effing librarian.
Hey, it's Jeff, the effing librarian here in Overland Park, Kansas. And so my fishing pet peeve that I'm talking about today is, because I got a lot of pet peeves about fishing. We've addressed the trash issue, but my pet peeve for right now, tangled line. So let me tell you about it. Backlash on a bait caster, those loops that pop off on your spinning reel and then catch all the rest of the line, your tangled leaders and tippet and fly fishing. This stuff drives me nuts. I hate it. It seems like I spend half my fishing time untangling the line. I was just out the other day with the crappie hippie himself and the professor, and we were out chasing some white bass, and I usually, you know me, I'm out there fly fishing all the time. I thought, I'm going to take my fly fishing stuff, I'm going to leave it at home, I'm going to take my bait caster, I'm going to take my spinning rods, and I'm going to go out there and use that stuff because it's just sitting around in the shed getting dusty. So I get out there with my fancy bait casting rod that I've got a really fancy Shimano Calcutta reel on it, and I go out there and cast the very first cast. And did I check the setting on the reel before I cast to make sure that it wasn't going to backlash, that it was set properly? No, I didn't. And so the very first cast, gigantic backlash. Ended up having to cut off, just basically cut out a whole bunch of line right off the bat. I mean, right out the gate. So, it happens all the time. It's with bait casting. I know you got that thumb breaking and all that stuff, but you get lazy just for a second. Next thing you know, it's a giant mess. Same thing with the spinning reels and the twists and line on that. I've all these years fishing, I still have not quite figured out how to prevent all this crazy line twist that you get with spinning rods. I mean, I think that part of the solution is you just switch to braid and don't go back because it doesn't really have any memory. But braid's expensive, so I'm still using mono on most of my stuff. But twisted line, and when I were to fly fish, I try to sometimes do these like fancy, like 2 and 3 fly rigs with, you got flies coming off the leader on droppers and all this stuff, and sure enough, what happens? They tangle all up into a giant mess, and I don't know why I ever try to fish more than one fly at once, unless it's like a hopper dropper that usually stays pretty untangled. But some of these multi wet fly or multi nymph rigs, they just tangle up, and so I don't know why.
Thanks, Jeff, and you got cut off in the end there. I guess 3 minutes is what our what our voicemail allows. But yeah, we get your point. Tangled lines are a pet peeve of mine as well. Preventable, but somehow we never prevent them. As a guide, I deal with tangles so often. And one thing I learned, though, it's never worth the effort to untangle fishing line. It's always easier just to cut it, retie everything, get back to fishing. Make sure you dispose of that line properly and get right back at it. But yeah, man, that's why I don't use bait casters. I just can't be bothered to learn. And just too much effort, too much tangle, too much mess. The worst for me, too, is we troll with lead core. And once in a while, if I'm fishing alone, I'm trolling, I will get tangled up in the prop of my motor with the lead core. Last year, I had both my trolling lines get into my prop at one time, And not just the mess with the tangle, but it also twists the line right up the shaft of the rod and into the reel itself. It just is an awful, awful mess to cut out, and expensive too, because lead core is not cheap. So yeah, and you got to get all that out and get it back in the boat, so you're not polluting the lake you're in as well. So lots to deal with tangled lines. With you on that, Jeff. If you want to participate in National Podcast Posting Month, please call us, 607-378-FISH. Leave us a voicemail, and we will get it on air. Everyone who leaves us a voicemail or sends us a message this month is entered to win fabulous prizes from Glasswater Angling and the Fish Nerds. Again, the number is 607-378-FISH. Alternatively, you can go to fishnerds.com. There's a little picture of a microphone on there. Click on that, and you can record right there. I'll get it. Or grab your cell phone, go to the voice memo function, push record, and leave it there, and then email that file to clay@fishnerds.com. That's it. Fish Nerds out.